Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Drinks with A.Ali Flores. I'm your host, A.Ali Flores, and tonight I'm super excited. We're going to talk about one of my favorite films. To say I'm a fan is kind of an understatement when you bring these two people in to talk about this movie. It's an iconic film, and I'm not going to talk about it yet. For those of you who've not watched this or heard the podcast, we talk about great movies, and then we have drinks. Hence the Real Drinks. We have drinks based on the film. And tonight's guests, it's my first married couple. We have Mr. and Mrs. Todd Feren. Todd and Renette, how you guys doing?
Hey!
Oh my good, they're never going to be able to guess what movie we're talking about, I don't think.
No? Oh crap. Hold on, do a digital background.
Mean Girls.
How you guys doing? Oh my God.
We're doing good.
Yeah, great.
You're here, ready to drink?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So in case someone isn't watching the YouTube feed, what are we talking about today?
Ghostbusters!
Yeah, there we go. Little
Ghostbusters, what do you want? And I'll go out on a limb and say this. I would challenge anyone to name a better movie. I know people have their preferences, and I've gotten into heated debates with Back to the Future people. I love Back to the Future. Yep. I think Back to the Future is an amazing movie, but I can't compare it to Ghostbusters because Ghostbusters is on another level with me.
Yeah, it's true. Ghostbusters is great. I think I would put Ghostbusters above Back to the Future.
And then my favorite thing is people want to do like quotability, and they're like, yeah, but Back to the Future is way more quotable. And then I just start spouting off every single line from the movie.
He has a lot of free time.
Yeah, I could tell. So let's talk about this. Todd, you and I met, what was it, back in 97?
Yeah.
Was it Sleuths?
Mm-hmm. I was just a baby.
Yeah, we were, 97. What year were you born?
90.
The year 2000.
Yeah, I was born in the year 2000. You met the spirit that I would eventually become.
Nice. No, Todd
we've known each other for a long time. We've worked on a lot of projects together and watched a lot of movies together.
Yes. We lived together for about 3 years.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Todd, talk to everybody about what you do in the business. I'd like to talk about those type of things and how'd you get into like theater, film, all that stuff.
Right. I mean, well, for the past 11 years, up until COVID, I've written and produced and directed shows in Orlando. Ali did both of them, actually, or two of them, where one of them is just a straight up comedy show, like Whose Line Is It Anyway, but for adults. That's what we go with. Then the other one was like an international variety show. And, COVID has kind of brought everything down. The entertainment industry has definitely struggled, which I find ironic that the entertainment industry is struggling so much when during this pandemic, what is everyone turning to? Entertainment.
Yeah.
And then it literally is the entertainment industry that's suffering so much in this. But I've put out 5 novels. I put out two novels this year. And that's helped actually quite a bit since COVID has taken all my other jobs. Right. And then most recently, Renette, who is a makeup artist, she's also out of work because if you can imagine entertainment where you're just in a room with people performing, being a dangerous position, her job is touching people's faces.
Literally up in their face.
So since we've both been kind of furloughed and out of work, we've started doing a YouTube channel ourselves where we're just kind of going on adventures and trying to be funny about it.
Yeah, my favorite one is the donut one, obviously. Like that one.
Yeah.
I still have a bone to pick with you guys about, I cannot believe the apple pie one did not win.
Yeah, no, you and me both.
I was shocked.
You and me both. We're going to do a rematch. But we're going to incorporate, because on our page, we had a bunch of people list other donut shops that we couldn't get to. So I'm definitely throwing the apple pie back into that mix.
Heck yeah, dude.
It was good.
So good. So Renette, you know, Todd started speaking for you as a man should do.
Yeah.
So tell us about how long, like, we've known each other for a very long time as well.
Yeah, you guys have known each other for a very long time. I got this. And you have my permission.
Oh, this thing on. Yeah, we've known each other probably not as long as you guys have known each other. I think I met you back in like 2000 or something like that.
Right around there, yeah. Back in the Universal days.
Grapevine of Universal friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Let's see, you're a makeup artist, but you also do like face painting and all those type of things, right?
Yeah, so I own my own business. So I do like face painting parties, tons of corporate events. I've traveled to Hong Kong and done FX makeup, and like, yeah, you send me someplace, I'll do it.
Nice. Now, you guys are all decked out in the Ghostbuster gar. You've got the awesome paintings behind you. You've got you've got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on the table. So I have to ask you, Renette, before we get into the movie, were you a Ghostbusters fan before you met Todd, or is this like a held against your will type of thing?
To be honest, do you want to speak for me?
No, go ahead.
Sure?
I got your arm though. I'm ready to yank.
No, actually, I've always loved that movie. Before I met Todd, he had zero influence on my enjoyment of the Ghostbusters. I would say it's my top movie because, you know, I'm a girl and, you know, I always go for the girly flicks, like, you know.
I shouldn't have let go of her arm. See, she says, I let go of her arm.
When you do your Clueless movie episode, I'll be there for that.
Okay.
Obviously.
She just went rogue.
But no, I've always loved it. 1 and 2, fantastic movies.
Yeah,
very funny.
People give 2 a hard time.
I love 2.
I love to.
Yes.
Not as much as the first one, but just seeing those people back in the same universe, I love it.
It's great.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so before we get into it, let's talk about what we are drinking now. Todd you've never had a sip of alcohol in your life.
Nope.
And Renette has all the sips of alcohol.
I've had a handful, 1 or 2.
So, Renette, what are we drinking?
So, this is the Slimer.
The Slimer.
So do you want me to tell you the ingredients?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have some Midori, which is a Japanese melon liqueur.
Mm-hmm.
We have some vodka, high quality, no names needed. A little bit of pineapple juice and a splash of lemon. Yeah,
I was excited. I went and got the ingredients, and I made it myself. So cheers, the Slimer.
Cheers.
Luncha.
When you're here, your family.
Oh, that's good. That's tasty.
And Todd's mocktail is Midori. Just kidding. It's no Sprite and pineapple juice and a splash of lemon. Tons of vitamins.
How'd you get the green? Is it that just the glow effect?
Just the really cool ice cube light we have.
Sweet.
Yeah, we went to Epcot.
FX.
I went to Epcot and I ordered a bunch of drinks just because they had glowing ice cubes in them. And then we were just like, fish them out. We can't finish the drinks.
My first 10 pounds walking out of Epcot.
Okay, so when did you discover your love for this movie? Let's get into it. Let's talk about Ghostbusters.
It was 1984 when the movie came out in the theaters. I remember seeing it in the theater. Not only do I remember seeing it in the theater, because I saw, what year did Empire Strikes Back come out?
Oh gosh.
Or E.T.
82? 83?
Alexa, when did E.T. come out? '82. I remember vividly seeing E.T. I remember seeing Empire, but Ghostbusters is the first movie that I have distinct memories of laughing in the theater. And I remember coming home from that movie, and I've always been a drawer. And I remember drawing Binkman laying down on the ground with Slimer above him. And I did the little word bubbles of, he slimed me. And I remember, like, I loved it forever. I made my parents take me back to see it. God, when VHS was a thing,
You
Yeah.
didn't have Vita?
I had VHS. And it's like, again, it's one of those movies where I probably bought 4 or 5 different versions of the movie through various collector's editions. But honestly, my favorite edition was, I think it's the 25-year anniversary edition,
Mhm.
because they have commentary that's done in the style of Whose Line Is It Anyway? Not Whose Line, Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, okay.
So you have these empty movie theater seats, and you have Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ivan Reitman sitting down in the front row talking about the movie while it's going on.
Oh,
It's incredible.
nice. So, Renette, when did, like, obviously you didn't see it in the theater because you
I
are
was
so
when
young.
it first came out. Like, hey. So that was me crying. No, but there was this network in Canada called City TV, and they'd show movies.
I'm sorry, hold on. I'm sorry. She's Canadian, Todd?
Wait, you guys didn't get the TPS report? Is the director Canadian?
Yeah, so is Dan Aykroyd.
You're welcome, Canada. The best Canadians come out of Canada. Anywho,
The best ones escape Canada. Is what you're saying.
they give you nice homes in Beverly.
Can we just take a second to say that she is Canadian and we're married, and we've always had this joke of, if things go sideways in America, she's my foot in the door.
It's not a joke.
Guess who let her passport lapse?
How could I get there? Anyway, Ghostbusters, Canadian director. I recall we had it recorded on a VHS, like where you tried to like stop it when the commercials came on, and then press record again. And I watched it a million times as a kid, but I always skipped the first part because that library scene scared the crap out of me. Not gonna lie, when she's like, "Rah!"
I think that's what I liked about it, though.
No, I didn't.
I think I liked it because even when I was little, we talked about this on one of our YouTube videos. We talked about this. Watching the Count show up in an episode of Sesame Street, you had that scary castle with the thunder and lightning, and I don't know. I got excited by, this is scary, and I got like, as a kid, I got a high on that, but I'm not scared of it. And Ghostbusters, same thing. You have that library scene that is, if you break it down, a terrifying scene. The way that it's structured.
Oh, it's so great.
With the librarian, you have this claustrophobia of her going down the narrow hallways, and then that effect, by today's standards, I still think is a good effect. The kind of in the same vein of that, tell them Large Marge sent you. But yeah, that effect, it was a genuine, it's a horror film at that point. And I love the fact that it springboards into this sci-fi comedy with ghosts as the backdrop.
I think my favorite part about that first scene is the fact that it is, you see the names that are in that movie. So you're automatically knowing it's going to be funny. This is going to be a funny film. So you're waiting for the comedy. You're like, oh, this is going to be great. But they get you with some legit horror with that. Like, that's a legit scary moment. And you're like, whoa, that kind of got me off guard.
And the remake that they did, or not remake, what would you call that? The
reboot.
The reboot
With
that they
the
attempted.
females?
Yeah. Well, Bridesmaid was a great movie. Bridesmaids.
Wonderful.
So funny.
So good.
So I expected the movie to be funny. I was disappointed in the fact that they were saying this is a reboot, because I went, why destroy this beautiful universe that's been created? But they attempted to do that same thing with the first scene. They attempted to do this kind of like scary scene to start off the movie, but I feel like they were too afraid to stick with that genre for that moment, because they were trying to do little jokes here and there. You got to commit to the bit. There's a book, oh God, I think it's called Best Advice. And it's famous people talking about the best advice they were given. And this is a quote that always resonates with me. Mel Brooks was showing someone a screening of Blazing Saddles. And you know how how out there Blazing Saddles is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that, as a creator, if that was my property, I would be nervous about showing that to a lot of people. The point that he was nervous was the punching the old lady. You know the scene where the guy's punching the old lady? Out of everything that's offensive in that movie, that was the scene that Mel Brooks went, this may be pushing it too far. And he asked his friend, and I don't remember the friend, I remember the quote. The quote was, if you're climbing that rope, you might as well ring that bell.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And if you're doing something like Ghostbusters and you're emulating a horror movie, make a horror movie. Don't think you're gonna isolate your audience or lose them, because no one's gonna walk into the reboot of Ghostbusters and if you start off with a scary scene, go, what movie is this?
Right.
Did I just walk into an Annabelle film?
Right.
So yeah, that I just feel like they kept their foot on the brake too much in that movie, and they were getting a lot of criticism at the time while they were filming, and I think that translated into the final product, because they even like worked in jokes about listening to people online, and I went, well, you already tainted your vision.
Yeah, I just felt that it was a little forced. A lot of stuff was forced. The comedy I felt was forced, not just letting it organically happen. So who's the bigger fan? Would you say Todd or Renette? Who's the Todd? Todd's the bigger fan.
I mean,
So if Todd is the bigger fan, I'm going to leave this part up to you, Renette.
okay.
I want you to give a synopsis of the film. I want you to go say, all right, this is what the movie's about. Todd, whenever you feel like she's wrong,
I don't have time for this game.
jump in.
Okay, so 4 guys. They're into psychology, and they're teaching at the school.
Wrong.
Parapsychology.
3 guys are parapsychology professors.
Yes.
The 4th guy comes in later.
So hot in here. Right. I love Winston. He's one of my favorites.
Winston was originally supposed to be played by Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
And when Eddie Murphy couldn't do the project and they had to recast, they actually reconfigured the script and they divvied up his lines, which is why Winston kind of gets the short end of the stick where it comes to screen time.
Right.
This is gonna take a while.
Only if you get stuff wrong.
So yeah, and then they try to start their business in parapsychology, and then some
Wrong.
super. Should I just let Todd do this game?
No, I like it when you do it.
This is my marriage. It's fine. Okay, so correct me then. What happens?
They get fired from their positions at the school.
Oh, I skipped that part. That's sad. I want to talk about that.
They get fired. They don't go into business as parapsychologists. They go into business as ghost elimination.
I was doing the Cliff Notes version.
It's taken a long time for Cliff Notes.
Anyway.
This is going to be my first divorce on the show.
First
How much
divorce
is it?
so far.
How much is it? $99?
99.
Yeah. So then they get they start their business. They get their first call from Sigourney Weaver's character. It's very exciting because she
Wrong.
gets
Their first call is not from Dana Barrett. Their first call is from the hotel that they go to where they meet Slimer for the first time. And Slimer...
Wait, isn't it not the library?
Oh, the library is not a job. They don't have their Ghostbuster job at the time. See how excited she was? See how excited she was, and she was wrong. Because you're wrong. So the library is where they're going when they're getting kicked out of the school. Their first job is the hotel where they meet Slimer. Little known fact, Slimer is an homage to John Belushi, who was supposed to be Peter Venkman in the movie.
That's right. I didn't know he was an homage, though.
Yeah, they wanted to find a way of working him in. So the design of Slimer is based on John Belushi, which I don't think is a compliment.
But he's a comedian, so
Yeah.
he knows how to
He do it.
do it.
Continue, Renette.
I mean, it just keeps getting better and better. I don't know what else to tell you about the movie because
You're doing great.
Okay, so then their second job is Sigourney Weaver's character, and she opens her fridge. There's like some sort of psychotic world in there, and Zool's World for that matter. And then she ends up getting sucked into her fridge and becomes a dog.
Technically, it's Gozer's World, but I'll allow it. Go on.
So then the Ghostbusters have to figure it out, and then her hallmate, who is Rick Moranis.
Hallmate.
What do you call him?
Neighbor.
Neighbor. But it's Canadian. It's Canadian.
Hallmate. Kids in the hallmate, and you're welcome. And then he ends up becoming a dog, and then one of them's the gatekeeper, and one of them's the keymaster. It gets more and more exciting, and then they meet. I don't know if they boink. It seems like they don't really show that.
Yeah, they don't show it, but
there's a lot of messy hair.
It's implied.
It's there.
And then they have to stop the world from ending, and they tell they're asked to clear their head because the world is coming to an end with this.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, I'm assuming it.
Yeah, I'm assuming everyone's seen it.
So then this thing comes through New York, and they have to blast it, and then you get s'mores everywhere. The end.
It's s'mores everywhere. Nice, very good.
Yeah, you missed the part where there's a graham cracker and a chocolate giant that they also slay.
But the best part is part 2, and the toaster comes alive.
That's true, the toaster does come to life.
In the original script for Ghostbusters was set in the future, where every city had a Ghostbusters unit, and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was in the first 15 minutes of the movie, and ultimately that script was rejected because it would have been way too expensive, and they had to kind of go back to the drawing board with the idea. And I think it was Ivan Reitman who said, "Why don't we see the forming of the first group?" Mm-hmm. And they went back when Dan Aykroyd kind of got the gist of the story that he wanted to tell. Ivan Reitman went into a meeting in 1983, and with was it Paramount? I think it was Paramount. Mm-hmm. And it was Paramount because Universal Studios owned the rights to the name Ghostbusters because there was a TV show in the 70s called Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah.
With the big guy in the monkey suit, and but in '83 he went to pitch the script that they had so far, but it wasn't a completed script. It was basically an outline that Dan Aykroyd had, and the studio executive said, "How much is it going to cost for the movie?" And Ivan Reitman had no clue, so he just said $30 million, and they said, "Okay, but you have to have it out in 12 months."
Wow.
So they not only had to have the movie out within a year, they had to do all those visual effects. They had to get a cast. They had to shoot it. And not only that, they had to write the movie. It hadn't been written. And
easy peasy.
But you have those people. You have Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. Like I said, I feel like in the first movie, he gets the short end of the stick because he was just kind of thrown in.
And Annie Potts.
But Annie Potts, of course.
Very important.
And Rick Moranis.
Canadian.
That role was originally supposed to be John Candy.
Yes.
Oh,
John Candy. Canadian. He wanted to play Louis Tully as a big German guy with an accent. And they were like, "Well, that's not really how we want it." And then he backed out.
He would have been a strange keymaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you put all of these people together who are incredible improvisers and incredible comedians. I mean, what you got was gold, but along the way, they were still working on things. Mm-hmm. For example, the Cross the Streams bit in the movie, when you're filming a movie, you're filming it out of order. They were filming that scene where they're closing the gates. "We should cross the streams" was an ad-lib that they then discussed and said, "Oh, we can go back and we can plant this seed earlier," because they didn't know how else they were going to do it. So as they were racing to get this movie done, they were just throwing ideas out there.
And it was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, for the most part, that film is, the majority of it is improvised. It's all, it's so much ad-libs.
Amazing.
It's great. It's brilliant. It makes it more organic. It just and when you have an ensemble cast like that that comes from an improvised, an improvisational background like that, they know how to give and take. They know what to do, and it's so good. So what moments in this film like really stand out to you? Like what's a favorite scene? We'll start with Renette.
Well, obviously the scariest scene in the library because that traumatized me for quite a while. I think probably the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, because like when they shoot him with their blasters, their proton packs, like he looks like he's crying like a baby. You're just like, you feel sorry for him, but like that's a very memorable moment in that. Plus the cinematography and using that, like the small models to make that look super real in New York is like, I mean, in the 80s, it's amazing.
They were terrified about that because it was so far out there and so ridiculous that
it was like the best scene ever.
But they were worried that audiences were going to hate it because it was so silly. And they said the first test screening, they didn't have all of the effects shots put in, but they had Stay Puft walking down the street. And they said the audience lost their minds, like they loved it.
Awesome.
And that's kind of one of those things where, oh, such a good moment.
Yeah, and plus as a kid when you're watching it, everyone's getting doused in melted marshmallow, and as a kid you're like, fun, the monster's dying. But that's how you remember it when you're younger. Like that's so much fun.
You were upset that this monster is dying?
No, it looked delicious.
She was mad she couldn't eat it.
Hey, that's a little disturbing to think about. Like, you want to keep the monsters melted.
There was a. Oh, I'm sorry. You stopped another part.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. What about you, Todd? What's one of your favorite moments in this movie?
God, moments.
Where do those stairs go?
They go up. You know what I think my favorite moment is? Only because I don't think in a movie I've ever seen a scene identify exactly who a person is right off the bat as well as they do here. The ESP scene where Binkman is shocking the guy.
Yes.
And he's flirting with this girl. But that scene, if you know nothing about this character going into the scene, which you don't, you immediately go, I know who this guy is. I get it. I know who he is, but I like him and I'm on board. I think that's my favorite scene.
I think another good moment like that where you automatically know who this person is Tully when he's walking through, and it's all one shot when he's walking through and he's talking to everybody, and that's mostly improvised as well. He's just sitting there, it's like, it's this, blah, 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 just talking. And it's like, that kid, that guy is, boom.
When he's trying to get the party started, so he starts awkwardly dancing with that girl.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the best.
But also,
who let the dog out? What was it? What did you say? Who let the dog in
who
here?
Brought the dog?
Who brought the dog? See, this is why I'm only just co-star.
I mean, obviously, the promise of the premise, as they say in the scripting world, the stuff where they're catching ghosts is all fun. It's a lot of fun to watch, and that's really what you want to see. But the character moments in that movie are so good that, I mean, we just went and saw it again.
Oh yeah.
There was a drive-in theater because movie theaters were dangerous, or are dangerous. So we went to a drive-in theater to see Ghostbusters, and it was
never seen it on the big screen for me, so that was really cool.
Man, it's Ghostbusters is a movie that if you're just flipping through channels and it comes on, I will stop right there and watch the entire thing. I can watch it anytime.
Everyone's like tailgating, and there were Ghostbusters there, and they had the Ecto one, and some Avengers were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. So everyone's like pre-partying before the movie starts, and like it's just really cool to watch it like in the comfort of your car on the big screen. And again,
just something like when she said there were Ghostbusters there. There are people who go around to events dressed as Ghostbusters.
Yeah, part two.
They do premieres. I feel like I was lucky enough that one of my first jobs back in '98
Yep.
98 or so,
Mhm.
was I got to be a Ghostbuster at Universal Studios. And we got to run around. We really got to kind of make up our own shows. It felt a lot like what you imagined it was like for them on the movie set, because at the time, we didn't have a lot of support. What we had a great show director who said, put some stuff together, do what you can do. And we had so much fun. They gave us a key. They gave us a key to all of the facades at Universal. And we would go in, go up to the windows, and do shows where we're catching a ghost, come out with a smoking trap. And one of my favorite memories of all time was the final day of the Ghostbusters in the park. And there were only two of us. It was myself and our friend James. And we did what we call a bathroom catch, which is where we go into this bar that's in Universal Finnegan's. Go into Finnegan's, one person stands outside, the other person goes in and just starts throwing stuff around, screaming.
You get away with that.
Yeah, and we called it like a routine emergency. Like, don't worry, folks, just routine emergency. And inside, you would just cover yourself with water and slime, and then you would get the trap smoking, and you would come out of that bathroom with a smoking trap. People would lose their minds. Like, they were so excited. And then we went out to the Ecto, and the streets were full of people. And I remember we both stood on top of the Ecto with a smoking trap. This is our last time being able to play these characters. Stood on top of the Ecto, and the entire street started chanting, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Dude, I was like this. I was like,
there's something in my eye.
Together.
sat on my keys.
That's awesome. Now, obviously, this movie has big names, big stars. Who do you think is an underrated, not just, I guess, character that's underrated, but should be rated a little higher in this because of what they contribute to this film?
I mean, I think the easy answer is Ernie Hudson.
Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot after that. Eh?
But he didn't have a chance to do a lot in the first movie. He's, as an actor, he's done a lot. He really has. He pops up in everything. Funny thing about Ernie Hudson, he auditioned for the role of Winston on the animated TV series, and they didn't think he sounded enough like himself. So they cast Arsenio Hall.
What?
Wow.
And then you have the thing with the animated series. The guy who did the voice of Peter Venkman was also the voice of Garfield in the cartoon.
Really?
Mhm.
And then when they made a live-action Garfield movie, Bill Murray did the voice of Garfield.
Figures.
I was like, I hope he did that out of spite.
Yeah, because he sure didn't do it for the artistic integrity.
That was a good movie.
I liked, what is his name? Peck?
Walter
Oh,
Peck.
yeah, he's great.
I think whenever you have a film like this, the antagonist has to be good. You gotta have something good, and he was such an ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were like, what? I guess he was like an environmentalist.
So
kind of.
there is technically a Ghostbusters 3. And it's a video game that came out probably, I feel like maybe 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But the video game was written by Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, Ivan Reitman, and they have the entire cast of the movie, including Walter Peck, I'm blanking on his name, but Annie Potts. They have the entire cast.
That's cool.
And this is actually set just a few years after the end of Ghostbusters 2, where essentially they've destroyed the Statue of Liberty. And so they end up being government sanctioned by the city, but they have to have someone to report to. And the character that they have to report to is Walter Peck.
That's funny.
And it's great because any destruction you do to the city, you have to report to him. And it just, again, he's such a good antagonist. Oh, it's a good game.
I remember when I was living with you, you got the the VR game?
Ghostbusters
that
VR.
looked really cool.
What?
Yeah.
I want to play it.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked amazing. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, because you get to go into the firehouse.
That's cool. You're not in the library, are you?
No. It's
Good.
the experience just takes place inside the firehouse.
Okay.
So let's just say a millennial has never seen it. Someone new. Does this movie hold up? I know it holds up for us because we know it. But do you think it holds up with generations that grew up with these Marvel movies and the effects there and all of the big budget stuff? Do you think this movie would hold up?
Absolutely, yes.
I think so. I mean, the effects are still good. They're not.
They're just different. Like it's like
It's stylized.
Right. Like when you go to Universal, and back in the day, they used to have that fake facade. You can use your camera. Like, whoa, there's this giant city behind you when it's really not there. And you're like, cool. This is like the classic way they used to make movies. And I think even the next generation will still appreciate what kind of work went into these movies without having to use CGI for everything and still making it look so amazing.
The other thing is the comedy holds up, and comedy is forgiving for everything.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the effects in that movie could be garbage. They're not. They could be garbage, but the fact that the performances are so good, the story is strong, and the characters are all fun, and you want to experience that world even more. I think, yeah, that's what makes it hold up. The comedy really holds all of those elements together.
I think the only thing that wasn't holding up is Sigourney Weaver's hairstyle. That's a different story altogether.
I think also not just the comedy part of it, but I feel that the suspense and everything, that the build up, I think is done really well.
Yeah.
The ghosts progressively get a little scarier or a little bit more intense.
Right.
The judge's chamber, with the what are the brothers? What are the
Oh, and Ghostbusters 2?
Too, yeah.
Ghostbusters 2.
Okay, the Fratelli brothers?
Yeah, the Fratelli brothers.
The Fratelli brothers are Goonies.
He's right.
You're right. I'm trying to remember because the judge says it.
Yeah.
The judge says the name.
The Spicoli brothers? No.
No, that's Fast Times.
Oh,
but
so
I wonder if he does say Fratelli brothers, and it turns out that's an homage.
Let me see.
I gotta find it.
Let me see.
But moments like that, I know it's in the second one, but there are great moments where it builds up and it builds and builds, and I feel that with this movie, I showed it to my daughter. She's 13. She loves it. She started watching this, I think, when she was 10.
She has great taste, though, so
Yeah, she's got good taste for film.
The
Scoleri brothers.
That's a great scene.
So great movie. Obviously, it does stand the test of time. I mean, it's going to be around forever.
Right.
So I'm actually almost ashamed to ask you these questions because you've already answered most of them. So we've got 10, and usually I start off light with the first 5, and then we go into some harder ones. I've not had anyone get them all right. So I kind of think this is going to be the thing. So Todd, you take the first 5.
Okay.
Renette, no, I'm kidding.
Oh my
God. So
whatever. That's what. Wrong movie.
So here we go. Number 1, super easy. Where does the movie take place?
New York
City.
New York City. Boom. Number 2, when we first see the ghost in the library, what's it doing?
Reading.
A book.
It's reading.
It goes.
There you go.
Nope, that's later.
Does it though?
That's when the Ghostbusters show up.
She still does it.
Go get her, Ray.
And then he goes like this. Okay.
What is the librarian's name?
Ooh.
Odd.
I used to have Tobin's Spirit Guide that was a thing from the movie.
Uh-huh.
And it had it in there.
He has the book too, eh?
Oh yeah, you do.
I will give you a hint. The actress name is the same. It's like, oh, okay, we're gonna name you after the same.
Oh, and she was like in a bunch of movies in the 80s too. Are you gonna miss one?
Yeah, I missed it.
Take a guess.
Take any guess.
Mary.
Francis.
Alice.
Oh, so close.
Alice.
So close. That's what I said.
When was the movie released?
1984.
Boom. What makes Ray Parker Jr. feel so good?
Bustin'.
Busted makes it feel so good.
Love
They
that
were
song.
sued for that song.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis, I Want a New Drug.
Yep.
They probably wouldn't have been sued, but they tried to get Huey Lewis to do a song for the movie before Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah. So this one you've already talked about. In Dana's building, Ray asks, "Hey, where do these stairs go?" And
They
Bateman
go up.
says, "They go up." What starts cooking on Dana's counter?
An egg.
Eggs!
That's right. They start exploding, and then they just.
Oh my gosh, you get all bubbly.
And then this is another one. I actually thought I was going to get you with this one. Where was the movie originally set?
Oh, in the
I've already
future.
answered that one. Yep.
Yeah.
New York City in the future. Which actor or actress made their feature film debut in this movie?
Their debut.
Their debut.
Actor.
Annie,
Was it Annie Potts?
Annie
It
Potts.
is Annie Potts.
Ooh,
Her first feature film.
she's great.
Number 10. Ghostbusters got 2 Oscar nods. What were they for?
Visual effects.
And
Music.
more specific.
The Ghostbusters Ray Parker Jr. song.
That's right. Best song and best visual effects. Here is your bonus, which could eliminate the Alice. What floor was Slimer found? Where was he found?
He was. Oh.
What
8.
floor? Is that your final answer? Renette, you want to chime in?
Shit. Someone saw a cockroach up on 8 or 10. I'm gonna go 10.
12.
Ah!
The 12th floor.
Can I have another bonus?
No. So awesome.
Dana
Thank you
Barris
guys.
was on the 22nd floor.
No. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been fun. I love this movie. It's a lot of fun. Tell everyone where they can find both of you and what's going on in your world.
YouTube.com/consumption junkies.
IES.
Yes.
Just in case.
Yeah, no, we're basically doing fun videos where we're traveling around. And
Eating donuts
we
and
did the one with you with the best donut in Orlando. And
going to doggy parks and attractions and coffee shops and
yeah, we're traveling, kind of taking a road trip up the East Coast and hitting some pretty cool sites. But we're also doing fun things like our video that comes out tomorrow is we did a snack exchange with a friend in England where we sent American snacks that she can't get there, and she sent British snacks that we can't get here, and then we did like a comparison.
taste test.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So you sent them like crack.
Yeah.
Heroin.
American crack.
It made it the whole way. I don't know.
Yeah, and then we
Also
have
known as Fun Dip.
It's fun.
and then we have like another package coming from Canada. So yeah, they're a lot of fun.
And then
Nice.
you're also doing a October show?
Oh yeah, and
Yes.
we're doing it together. October 30th, the Mama's Comedy Show, like our first show in a while, our proper show.
Propa.
Excellent. And there's also a podcast, Mama's Comedy Show, so you can check that out on iTunes, wherever you hear podcasts. And if you plug your books, man, I love your books. I think they're fun.
Oh yeah, just search my name, Todd Feren, on Amazon. There's Inhuman, which is a comedy about the zombie apocalypse, a sociopath during the zombie apocalypse
Very
who
good.
finds a dog that begins to act like the moral compass that he lacks. Nightmare of Neverland is a retelling of Peter Pan
My
through
favorite.
the point of view of Hook, who is a father trying to get his son back from the vampire known as Peter Pan. There's
Wally.
Wally, which is about a boy and his dog lost in the woods when a virus that affects animals is released in the woods, turns them all rabid. Parker and Jesus is actually one of my personal favorites. If you're super religious, don't read that one. I think it's funny.
It is very funny, yes.
And then another one that came out this year was Zombies End, Aftermath, which is based on a play that I wrote probably 12 years ago about survivors of the zombie apocalypse. But it was crazy. I released it at the beginning of the COVID lockdowns. It was crazy as I was going back through the similarities between what I was writing about following a zombie apocalypse with society crumbling and what was happening now. with people denying it and stuff like that. It was, yeah.
Holy cow. Awesome. Thank you, Renette. Thank you, Todd, for joining us. For those of you watching, and please go to Facebook, Real Drinks with Ali Flores. Follow, like the page, like YouTube. Find us on anywhere that you can hear podcasts and rate us. Thanks again. And I need to see one more Stay Puft Marshmallow Man going through New York City.
If someone asks if you're a god, you say yes!
Yes! Good night, everybody.